Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I want to take you on a journey that I had. So, let me just quickly say that I was, going through Road to the King, where it goes through the OCG, and, it posts a whole bunch of tournaments, and the results for said tournaments on the website. For specifically the OCG. Now, in the OCG, they just had a ban list that hit the tier 0 deck of Splites. However, that deck was tier 0 for about a couple of weeks, and then the most recent, prior to ban list, Metagame Report came out. And this is what it looked like. Splites were at 38% of top cuts. Tearalaments were at 25%. Overall, these two decks were the biggest threats, and they took up about, they took up less than 60% overall of top cuts, with a few other decks being thrown in, like Virtual World, Shadal, and the like. Now, granted, this is only 50 of the total decks for this metagame report, but I mean, this comes out every 2 to 3 weeks, or more like 1 to 2 weeks, I should say. So it's a pretty constant update. But with this, Splites seem to be under control with Tearalaments, and Tearalaments probably deserve some sort of a hit as well as Splites, because they're kind of just smushing the rest of the metagame. And most of them are playing the new Ishizu cards to just mill like a whole bunch of cards. But we got a new ban list. Well, I should say the OCG got a new ban list, where cards were hit specifically to weaken Splight and nothing else, at least at the top of the metagame. So Toad was hit because Splites can make Toad, just like straight up, they can just make Toad, which is pretty strong for them. That's an Omni Negate, and they can recycle it over and over. Very nice overall. They can also make Crystron Halka because they like rank and link 2s. Okay, so both of those were hits to specifically Splites. The rest of these don't hit any particular deck that is at the top of the metagame. I guess the branded cards are kind of played in one variant of Tearalaments, but other than that, there's no real hit to any of the top meta contending decks. Fluunderies kind of got a nerf, but other than that, again, basically nothing. Lots of unlimits, stuff like that, unlimiting the Judgment, or I should say putting it back to 1, limiting Ava to 1 for reasons. Strytron hasn't been a thing in like ages, so don't know why Ava's now at 1. And yeah, just a whole bunch of other cards being put from 2 or 1 to 3. So there you go. That's the ban list. So let's go through all of the tournaments that have been posted to Road to the King and just look at who's topping. Who's at the top, right? So, we have the top 4 here of Splight, Ishizu Tearalaments, Fluunderies, and Exo Sister. Pretty nice, pretty diverse. We have a Splight deck that ends up winning it all. Pretty standard for the tournament. Ishizu Tearalaments right there in second. And then we've got some other decks with the Fluunderies and the Exo Sister, which are not shown here. But overall, pretty nice. Keep that in your mind. And then we have another deck. This one's going to show us the top 6 decks, which we have Ishizu Tearalaments winning, 2 Splites, another Tearalaments, Grass Tearalaments, and another Tearalament. So, lots of Tearalaments. We can see the Splight variant of, or the Splight variants. We see another Splight variant using this Nimble Beaver, which is hilarious. I love Splites so much. We have more Tearalaments, this time using Grass, because Grass is at 2. For some reason, I don't know why Grass is at 2. Anyway, just put it to 3, or put it at 1. So weird. We have another Ishizu Tearalaments, and another one, and yeah, so there you go. Oh, and then things start to get worrying. Here we have 4 Ishizu Tearalaments. Just the same deck. Basically card for card. 41 cards, playing the same deck, playing the same card. Oh, this one's 42. This one's 43. So, all of them over 40. But yeah, the same deck overall, okay? Let's move on. We have another Ishizu Tearalaments. We have 3 of them out of the top 4, and another Splight. Okay. Okay, this is, okay, more Tearalaments. Got it. Okay, and a Splight. Okay, Splites are still there. 3 more Tearalaments. This time, a Despia. And Sky Striker. All right, let's take a look at the Sky Striker deck. It's just Sky Striker. They did get a new card, which is actually very good for them. But yeah, just millions of hand traps. That's it. Just lots of hand traps. And then we have another top 6. This time, it's actually pretty diverse. I will say that this tournament ends up being, I mean, more diverse than previously. We only have 3 Ishizu Tearalaments instead of the entire top cut being solely Tearalament. We have 2... we have 1 Splight variant in Splight Agent, which is also interesting. We have a Scareclaw, and we have a Punk Adamantipator. Okay, those are some pretty interesting decks. We have the Splight Agent here, which is honestly super cool. I love this. This is super awesome. They have another Agent card that we just kind of don't have. But yeah, Splites are so splashable that you can just play them in like anything. You want to play rank 2? Fantastic. Play some Splites. You play a Link 2? Fantastic. Play some Splites. It's fine. We have Scareclaw, which is so weird. I don't know how this topped, but there you go. Scareclaw, like, I've seen the cards. They're not great. And then Punk Adamantipator, very interesting. Yeah, I mean, they have Block Dragon, so at 3, there you go. And then the last one is Grass, Tearalaments, 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 and Splight Evil Twin. There you go. So, more Tearalaments. I mean, here's Splight Evil Twin. I mean, this is one of the ones that actually makes the most sense with Splites because obviously you're going into a lot of Link 2s with the Leela and Kiss-a-Kill. Just makes the most sense to play them together. And then we have, the Grass. I think this one, yeah, this one was Grass, right? Grass with 55 cards, which just hurts my brain. But yeah, Grass with 55 cards. There you go. I guess that's probably why Ava was limited to 1 because of the fairies and the stuff that you can do with Grass specifically. But it's not like Ava's the problem. The problem is Grass. But yeah, so I have wrote down the entirety of the metagame on this little sheet of paper, all of the tournaments and all of the decks that were played. So let's go back to this, okay? So this was, prior to the ban list, the metagame. Splites, Tier 1, Tearalaments, Tier 1. Together. Everything else, non-existent. They don't matter. We have a total. Let's just go through the individual decks. So we have 2 Grass Tearalaments. We have 4 Splight, just pure Splight decks. We have 18 Tearalaments. We have 1 Evil Twin Splight. We have 1 Scareclaw. We have one Punk Adamantipator. We have 1 Splight Agents. We have 1 Despia Tearalament. We have 1 Striker, Sky Striker. We have 1 Exorcister and 1 Fluwander Rees. Out of 32 decks, that's the numbers. I broke these down into 3 categories. Tearalament, Splight, and anything else. Tearalaments took up 21 of the 32 spots. Splites took up 6. And any other deck was 5. So, the percentage of decks in the top that were, at least from what we saw, not specifically in Top Cut, but from those top spots, which is like the top half of the bracket, is 65% Tearalament. 60 is enough to be considered a Tier 0 strategy. Tearalaments were already on their way to being competitive with Splites who were already Tier 0. Splites were the only thing that were hit on that ban list. Realistically, I mean, some other kind of nerfs were hit here and there, but Tearalaments are now looking to be Tier 0. Now, this is very soon after the ban list, and I think a lot of people may have jumped ship on Splight, seeing that maybe it's not playable, given the fact that you no longer have Toad, you no longer have Krishron, Hulk, and Fibrax. What are you going to do? You know, this ban list really hurt, whereas it didn't hurt the Tearalament, so more people may be playing that, but this is just something to kind of like look out for, right? These cards aren't going to be coming to the TCG nor Master Duel anytime soon, but it is something to just kind of look at and be like, oh wow, that's pretty interesting. So we went from one Tier 0 format to another. That's all. Just thought I'd share this with you guys and show my findings. All in all, though, very interesting, very fun to look at and just kind of see what's going on and what people are playing. Those new Shizu cards, I really didn't think that they would be all that good, but apparently they are overpowered. Well, specifically with the Tearalament stuff. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.